Hi, I'm Hillman, and this is Danny Ives, and we're here to share with you about a new initiative in Georgia and Alabama called the Pinnacle Forum. Pinnacle Forum is a marketplace initiative designed to serve men and women who are in influential positions in the marketplace and really all aspects of culture. Now, Danny, you have been recently elected Executive Director of Pinnacle Forum. How did that come about?
Well, I was invited to a forum meeting by you and Steve Fedeschi, the CEO of Pinnacle Forum, was actually in Atlanta to hold that meeting with ministry leaders. And after the meeting was over and everything, he kind of pulled his chair up to me, looked me in the eye, and asked me, how do you want to finish? And I thought about that a second. I said, well, I'd like to finish well. And so we talked a little bit more and everything, and then Steve went and prayed, and you prayed about it, and I prayed about it, and we came to the conclusion that God was leading me out of business and getting me off the church pew to come out and to work with Pinnacle in this endeavor that's taking place in Georgia and Alabama. So.
There are a lot of marketplace ministries out there. What's the core vision of Pinnacle Forum?
Basically, let's put God back into the seven cultural mountains where he's been basically moved out of to a great degree at this point in time. And I mean, all you have to do is look around you to see what's happening. And so as I'm sitting in church and going through my routine of business and family life and everything, I kept wondering, it's been apparent that this is happening and everything, but I wasn't doing anything about it.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there. I was, doing all the good things, all the right things. But that when I heard that message, when I heard the idea that what was going to happen, it became apparent to me it was time to get out of the church pew and join the fight. So.
Yeah, when we look at the mission statement of Pinnacle Forum, it says that Pinnacle Forum was built to establish a network of leaders committed to personal and cultural transformation based on the values of Jesus Christ. And that's a good vision statement to have. There's something very unique about Pinnacle that probably separates it from other marketplace ministries, and that is the focus on the seven cultural spheres. And that concept really started in 1995 when Bill Bright challenged some marketplace leaders, and actually before that it actually happened in 1975 when Bill Bright met Loren Cunningham for the very first time. Loren Cunningham was from Youth with a Mission, and during that first meeting God spoke to each of them and said, if we're going to shape culture, it has to be through these seven areas, which are business, government, media, arts and entertainment, the family, education, the church. These areas most define what people believe in the culture. And so he challenged leaders to come together around that. And of course, that's what we've been doing for the last 15 years as well, focused on equipping men and women in the marketplace.
Yeah, which leads me to a question, because you've been leading this international ministry and national ministry. You've traveled worldwide. You've wrote plenty of books. I think about 15 books now total for marketplace leaders. What made you want to come alongside as a transformational director for the Georgia-Alabama chapter and then moving that into the national area for Pinnacle Forum?
Well, I think that, it was about 6 or 7 years ago that I spoke at one of the national conferences at Pinnacle Forum, and I really loved what I saw in that. I spoke again a few years later, been on some of the Pinnacle Forum calls, the teleforums. And recently, in the last few years, I've gotten to know Steve Fedeschi with Pinnacle, and we began to talk about how do we really shift the culture in America? What's it going to take? And as we began to talk about that, we realized that both of us had some unique thing to bring to the table. And so we thought about ways that we could work together, and one of those areas is in the area of equipping, because that's really my core thing. And so we talked about me serving the Georgia and Alabama chapter by being what they call the Transformation Director, which basically helps to support the forum groups, provide curriculum to equip the leaders. And so I'm excited to be a part that way. We want to encourage you to become a part of Pinnacle Forum. And one of the reasons that we want you to be part of Pinnacle Forum is that it's lonely at the top. What do I mean by that, Danny?
Well, I mean, if you're sitting you're a business leader and you're trying to do things, you're trying to function, this, that, and the other. There's really not a whole lot of support there. You're pretty much on your own, other than people that generally just work for you. But being able to go and sit and talk with other people of a similar sphere that you're in, at the top of their professions, at the top of wherever they're at, culturally wise, it's a very important thing, especially for men, because men tend to isolate themselves, and to be able to go out and to share and come together, build relationships, it's a very important thing.
So as we conclude, I think it'd be worth sharing a few case studies of why Pinnacle is making a difference in communities and even in our nation.
One fantastic program that that I learned about when I first joined was Elevate Phoenix. And Elevate Phoenix was started by a Pinnacle Forum member. He didn't know anybody in the area, didn't even know how to raise money, didn't even know who to approach, but he just had God had laid it on his heart to do this. And he went into these inner city schools that had graduation rates of about 50% on the average, and put this program into place. And just to shorten the narrative here, basically those schools right now have graduation rates sometime in the 90 percentiles is what they're looking at. And so that's the type of program.
Incredible.
It is very incredible, and that's the type of program that Pinnacle really gets behind and looks to do, because that is changing people's lives, and in the process is changing culture.
And being in Pinnacle, around Pinnacle for several years, I've gotten to know some of the people who have birthed out of Pinnacle, and one of those was a company called PureFlix, which is a film company that's produced something like 75 films, Christian films and wholesome family films. And that came about because of one of the Pinnacle partners had a vision for this, and they came around him and helped him birth that vision. And there are many, many case studies like that. And that's one of the great things about Pinnacle, is that they're about serving others and helping others fulfill their vision.
Amen.
To impact the culture. We want to encourage you to check out Pinnacle Forum. We'd love to have you become part of what we're doing here in Georgia and Alabama. We'd love to have you as a partner. So check out the information below. God bless.